What's good, y'all? So as I'm recording this, there are only 3 more days of regular season basketball left in the season. It's really crazy how fast time flies, man. It feels like just 2 weeks ago it was the beginning of the season. Now we're about to be at the playoffs. But with the end of the regular season comes regular season awards. And in this video, I'm gonna go over my ballot for every award, every team. We're going over everything. MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, down to Coach of the Year, all rookie teams, defensive teams, everything. It might be a long one. I don't know. I'm going to try to make it as concise as possible while still giving, my reasoning on why I'm picking these guys. No matter how long the video is, though, I hope you guys enjoy this one. Make sure you go leave a like right now. Subscribe to the channel if it's your first video that you're seeing. And let's start off with the MVP. So the top 3 guys that I have for MVP are Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't think this is real breaking news. I'm pretty sure a majority of NBA fans have these 3 guys as their top 3. And when you do look at the stats, all 3 of these guys are just having incredible seasons. We got Joel Embiid leading the league in points while being a two-way monster. Nikola Jokic is almost averaging a triple-double. And then, of course, we all know how great Giannis is. And my 2023 MVP is Joel Embiid. I think Joel is having a fantastic season, by far his best season as a player. And I hope that it continues into the playoffs. Realistically, the MVP is a regular season award. That's what a lot of people tend to forget when they discredit Jokic. For a majority of the season, it was Jokic. Jokic was my MVP. He just does so much for that Nuggets team. But Joel, man, he's just turning it onto another different gear. Just last night, he dropped 52 points in a win against the Celtics. He wants to win this MVP. A lot of people want him to win this MVP, and I think he's going to do it. And then in third place, I did have Giannis. He's having an incredible season also. I feel like he's suffering from the LeBron James treatment, I guess I'm going to call it. Michael Jordan also dealt with this. A bunch of other great players in their time deal with this, where they're so good that people just kind of throw it out the way, they take it for granted. If they did the MVP voting by the best player each year, LeBron James would have way more than 4 MVPs. Michael Jordan would have way more than 5 MVPs. Giannis has been the best player in basketball for the last few seasons now. He only has the 2 MVPs. He'll probably win some more down the road, but I think this year is overdue for Embiid, and he finally gets it done. Next up, we have Defensive Player of the Year. This one was a little crazy too. Not a lot of the same candidates that you're used to seeing, but still an amazing race. And I know there's a lot more to Defensive Player of the Year than stats in general, especially these specific stats. But these are the ones I just kind of gathered to help show my case for these guys. We have Jaren Jackson Jr., Brook Lopez, and Evan Mobley as the finalists. I'm not gonna lie, this was one of the most difficult awards that I did this season. I was going back and forth between these 2 guys right here, and I had to give it to Jaren Jackson Jr. I almost gave it to Brook Lopez because Brook has been amazing. He's been anchoring that Milwaukee defense, who's been 4th all year, had an amazing defensive rating as a team. Him specifically also an amazing defensive rating. He's a great rim deterrer, a lot like Rudy Gobert, where he only averaged, I think it was 2.5 blocks. He stops a lot more shots than just 2.5 of them a game, for sure. They see his presence down there and they run away. But Jaren Jackson does a whole lot of that to an even greater extent. The one issue that I kind of almost put him at second and Brook to win it was he does foul a lot. He averages 3.6 fouls a game, Jaren Jackson. So it's a lot, especially for your big man, your rim protector. You want him out on the court at all times. And when he is out on the court, he is amazing. He blocks everything. He steals everything. He's a great anchor to Memphis' defense, which is 2nd in defensive rating. If he gets those fouls in check, he's going to win so many Defensive Player of the Years. He's that good. And then in third, I had the young Evan Mobley in just his 2nd season being top 3 for Defensive Player of the Year. Very, very good pace for him. He's over there in Cleveland anchoring the best defense in the league. And if I had to put a bet on it right now, who's going to win next year, he would have my vote. I think he's going to take that extra step even more next year and be elite. But for this season, it goes to Triple J. And since that was one of the most difficult ones, I'm going to move on to one of the easier ones, at least in my opinion. I feel like I had this kind of mapped out for a good chunk of the season. I had the number 1 guy for the majority of the season. I had number 2 and 3. They kind of shuffled a little bit for the last 2 months, though. It's pretty much stayed the same. We're going to be looking at Rookie of the Year. And the 3 finalists I have are, of course, Paolo Banchero, the number 1 overall pick, J-Dub, Jalen Williams over there in OKC, and then Walker Kessler, in my opinion, one of the surprises of the draft. And real quick, before you typing out that, oh my god, how did you not know Walker Kessler was going to be so good? I'm not a draft expert. I don't watch college basketball besides March Madness. I don't really know anything about these draft prospects until they reach the NBA. That's why he was a surprise to me. I didn't really know him. But it also is surprising that as a rookie, he came into the league and led the league in field goal percentage at 72%. He's an elite rim protector, a great rebounder, offensively and defensively. He does a little bit of everything. Great interior presence there for Utah to replace Rudy Gobert. But I don't know why I'm even talking about all that. He only placed third. Number one was, of course, my guy, Paolo Banchero. Number one pick, number one rookie of the year. Easy for the Magic right there. He's really one of the only rookies that's the number one option on their team. And he really did a pretty good job. You saw average of 20 points. His efficiency wasn't really the best, especially from three. He had a month where I think he hit 3 threes in the whole month. It kind of got a little rough there, but all rookies don't really have the best efficiency, unless you talk about Walker Kessler. All rookies don't really have the best efficiency. I expect him to really take that next jump next year. Just having such a big size, 6'9", 6'10" body, can handle the ball, dribble, hit the shots. Like I said, the efficiency not the best, but you can see the fluidity in it in those mid-range shots. The three-point will come. He can finish at the rim, rebound, pass. He does a little bit of everything. And then second place, I do want to give a shout-out to J-Dub, of course, over there in OKC. He is super efficient. Talking about rookies aren't really efficient. He is efficient from three, from the field in general, plays defense out there. He's a huge part of what OKC is doing over there, so shout-out to him. Next up, we have Most Improved Player. This is probably the one that if you had to choose, like in the beginning, if you're making predictions in the beginning of the season, Most Improved Player is almost impossible to guess unless there's a big free agent signing that moves over, hint, hint, a big trade of a guy, hint, hint. It's really hard to guess who's just going to break out. So let's go look at the finalists. Here we have Lauri Markkanen, Jalen Brunson, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the 3 finalists in Most Improved Player. I put their stats that they're averaging this season and then compared to what they averaged last season. That's what the pluses and the minuses are. As you see, Lauri Markkanen went up almost 11 points per game, and his efficiency went up, rebounds, assists, literally across the board went up and everything. Jalen Brunson added a decent amount of points there too, almost 8 points, a few assists, some efficiency right there from 3. And then Shai also added 7 points and efficiencies galore on that. This is another award that's pretty much been mapped out from the beginning of the season. Once you saw how crazy Lauri Markkanen has been doing in Utah, and he continued that throughout the season, it was a lock that he was going to win this, going from a role player to a superstar. Superstar's a drag, my fault, I didn't mean to do all that. To a star, and the main guy on your team, being, he was spotting up in Cleveland last year, and now he is their guy. You saw he went up 11 points per game, the efficiencies went up. There really is no other argument for anyone besides Lauri Markkanen, let's be honest here. Second, though, I have my guy, JB, Jalen Brunson. Shout out to him. He went from being a 6-man over there in Dallas, pretty much. He had that great run in the playoffs. Now he did that great run for the entirety of the regular season. Hopefully he can bump it up into the playoffs. Like the other 2 finalists on this list, Jalen Brunson should have been a first-time All-Star this season. It is what it is. People get snubbed. I'm not really tripping about it. But his impact is definitely felt on this Knicks team. He improved a whole lot from last year. Then in third, we have Shai. In my opinion, Shai is kind of like Ja's jump last year, where he, obviously these guys, they're up-and-coming young guys. We know that they're going to be really good. We've known Shai is really, really good. He's just been, dealing with injuries, the tank of the OKC, not really putting him out there. We all knew Shai was good. We all knew Ja was good. We all know he was going to be good. He just kind of grew into himself. Me personally, I feel like that's not what Most Improved Player is for. I feel like it's for the Lauri Markkanens that just are out of nowhere, blossom into a star. The Jalen Brunsons that get moved, sign somewhere else and just blossom into a star. We all knew Shai was going to be a star. I'm not discrediting him. He still had an amazing improvement in his scoring. But, like I said, in my opinion, I'd just rather give it to someone that is kind of more out of the blue. I think that's the beauty of the award. Next up on the list, we have one of the more polarizing awards in the NBA. Some people love this award, some people hate this award. Me personally, I think it's pretty cool. We got the 6th Man of the Year. And in these finalists, I have Emmanuel Quickley, Malcolm Brogdon, and Bobby Portis. All of these guys come off the bench for their teams, and they come in and impact the game in their own individual specific ways. This was another very, very tough award to pick, but we had to pick one winner. And I happily can announce that I went with my man, Emmanuel Quickley. Shout out IQ, man. I love the season he's having. IQ has such a big impact on both the Knicks offense and their defense. I feel like neither of the other 2 guys impact both sides of the ball the way IQ does. And I've seen a few people discredit IQ, saying he shouldn't win Sixth Man of the Year because he has his best games when he starts. But I mean, it kind of makes sense. When you start, you're going to get more minutes, you're going to get more stats, whatever. He really is our sixth starter, if you want to say. Like, whenever someone gets hurt, he's the guy that inserts into the lineup. When Jalen Brunson was out, he came in, ran our point guard. When Quentin Grimes or RJ Barrett are out, he comes in and runs our two guard. Besides Jalen Brunson, I'd probably give it an IQ as one of the biggest keys of why the Knicks are so good this season. Don't get me wrong, though. Malcolm Brogdon was a very, very close second for me. He's been amazing over there in Boston. As you guys saw on the stats I just showed on the screen, he has started 0 games, so I guess that's kind of where people say IQ shouldn't win it, because Malcolm Brogdon is doing all of this off the bench. It is very impressive, and he does allow, when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are on the bench, they allow Boston to have like a legit scoring threat, legit offensive weapon on the court. He puts up the numbers, he's efficient with it. He is 4th in the entire NBA in three-point percentage. That's how efficient he's been. He's been really, really great for them. Then I don't want to forget the other Knicks legend, Bobby Portis, right here. He's been having an incredible season over there in Milwaukee. 23 double-doubles off the bench. That leads the entire NBA in off-the-bench double-doubles. He comes in there, he puts in work. He's almost averaging a triple-double off the bench. Gets buckets, gets rebounds. That's Bobby P right there. He does all that. He's having a great season. And if you guys wanted to know a little bit more about the Sixth Man of the Year, I am now writing for LGHoops.com. Shout out to them. In the description, there'll be a link to their awards. We had a vote. All the writers, we voted. I wrote the Sixth Man of the Year portion, so if you wanted to see that, check that out. Link in the description. All right, we're on to our final award before we have all the teams, the All-NBA, All-Defensive, All-Rookie teams. This final award is one that does not include any stats. It's just, I don't know how you want to rank it. I have my own ways of ranking it. I'll explain. Coach of the Year. And since there are no stats, I just put up pictures of these guys so you guys know who I'm talking about in case you don't. The candidates, though, are Sacramento's Mike Brown, OKC's Mark Daigneault, and then Boston's Joe Mazzulla. I feel like this is another one where it's kind of like the writing is on the wall. It's kind of an obvious who's going to win. Of course, that's going to be Mike Brown of the Sacramento Kings. When your franchise misses the playoffs for 16 years in a row, the longest drought in all of American sports, and then you snap that streak, not only snap it, but become a top 3 seed in your conference, you win Coach of the Year. No matter what, you win Coach of the Year. I don't think if you spoke to a single NBA fan minus Sacramento Kings fans and asked them, hey, where do you think the Kings are going to land this year? Majority of them, I would say, would either play in or not even make the playoffs, let alone a top 3 seed. As insane. They're by far the biggest surprise this season. He definitely wins Coach of the Year. But that does not discredit the other 2 coaches in Daigneault and Mazzulla. Both of them are incredible. A lot of people did think that OKC was going to tank this season. They were just not really going to do too much, especially once Chet went down with the injury. Everyone was like, all right, one more tank season, then they're really in it. No, throw that out the window. We just saw Shea was up for most improved. Daigneault is going to be one of the Coach of the Year runner-ups, I would assume, I would hope. He really brought this team to be really competitive, really on any given night, no matter who they're versing. They're playing a competitive game. They're probably going to make the play-in, I would assume. Maybe the Mavericks catch them. I don't think so, though. Definitely a good building block year for OKC for sure. Then in third place, I got Joe Mazzulla, the youngest coach in the NBA. He stepped in on short notice. Of course, there was all the drama with Ime Udoka, and he just stepped in like a professional, came in, and it worked to perfection. The Celtics are the 2 seed right now. In any different year, he might have won it, let's be honest. Now that we're done with the awards, it's time to get to the teams. Of course, All-NBA, All-Defensive, and then All-Rookie teams. We're going to start off with the All-NBA teams, and these All-NBA teams were by far the hardest things to make out of the entire video. All-NBA teams, oh my god, there's just so much talent in this league, especially in the guards and the forwards. There's some guys that got left off this, which I hate that they get left off. They had amazing seasons. I wish they could make it, but there's only a certain amount of spots. So without further ado, let's just get into it. All NBA first team. Here we go. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Donovan Mitchell get the guard spots. Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo at the forwards, and then of course, for the first time in his career, finally gets over Jokic, MVP Joel Embiid on All NBA first team. This video would be probably an hour long if I sat here and talked about each individual guy and why I put him on the first team compared to second team compared to third team or whatever. so I'm not going to do that. If you guys have questions about a certain specific guy, make sure you leave it in the comments. I'll be sure to answer it and explain my reasoning more in depth if you want. But I figured I'll pick 1 or 2 guys per team, just talk about them, highlight them, and then we'll just move on to the next team to keep it safe, simple, and easy for you guys. So we already talked about Shai, Giannis, and Joel, so might as well talk about Donovan Mitchell right there. He's been having an incredible season for the Cavs. I made a video about him a few days ago talking about how he really made that jump when he made it to the Cavs. And he has made that jump, as you see, All-NBA first team for him, top 2 guard this year. He's been making an argument to be one of the best shooting guards. It's definitely between him and Book. Book was hurt, so we'll give him that. You know, he was hurt for most of the season. But Spider, man, he's climbing up the ranks. He's definitely top 2 right now in shooting guards. And now for All-NBA second team, we got Luka Doncic and De'Aaron Fox at the guard spots, LeBron James, Julius Randle at the forwards, and then Nikola Jokic on the second team. He's getting that Joel Embiid treatment. You know, he's second in MVP, but still has to go down to All-NBA second team. If the Mavericks made the playoffs, Luka Doncic would probably have been on first team All-NBA over Shai. But, you know, both those teams, neither of them had great records. Shai's at least in the play-in tournament right now. Luka is not, so that's a tough look for him. De'Aaron Fox, I had to put him so high because the Kings are the 3 seed. I really wanted to give him his love. He's been fantastic this season. And then both LeBron James and Julius Randle have been having great seasons. LeBron dealt with injuries here and there. Other than that, though, he's been doing great. You know, almost averaging 30 points per game in his 20th season is insane. Julius Randle holding it down for the Knicks. He just got hurt, but hopefully he'll be back soon. They both make All-NBA second team. This All-NBA third team is where it really got tough. I stared and looked at these names for a good while before I figured out my final roster right here. And here's what it is. Steph Curry and Damian Lillard at the guards. Jaylen Brown was listed at a small forward, so I put him at small forward. It's that simple, really. And he's on there with Kevin Durant at the forward spots. And then Sabonis, All-NBA third team. That was probably the easiest one. The centers were really easy. Everything else, super difficult. A lot of these guys on the third team could be way higher on it, but just different things happened. Like Dame missing the playoffs, that knocked him down to the third team. He probably should be on second or first, honestly. Steph, if he didn't deal with the injuries, he would probably be a little bit higher on here. KD, if he didn't have injuries, he would definitely be on higher on here. He just been amazing all season. It sucks that the injuries happened. But he's turning it around. He's back there with the Suns now. I think they're 6-0 or 7-0 with him now. Scary. Very scary. I'm not going to lie. But before we move on from All-NBA, I do want to give a shout out to these 3 guys that got left off the list. They were very, very, very close. Super duper close. We got D-Book. And the only reason he got left off was because he was dealing with those injuries. Also, Ja Morant was very, very close to making this list. And then Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi, since All-Star break, has been elite. One of the best players in the league since All-Star break. But in the beginning of the season, he was dealing with injuries, not really playing. When he was playing, it wasn't the best, coming off the bench and stuff like that. So he just barely missed out. He's probably the biggest snub, Kawhi right there. Then D-Book and Ja. Really hate leaving those guys off. All right, here's where things really get interesting. All defensive teams. Kind of the same thing with Defensive Player of the Year. It's the stats really don't give it justice. It's more of an eye test and knowing how a player plays defense. You know, stats could help you, but it's not the whole picture, and I want you guys to remember that when you're looking at these stats. But let's get into it. All defensive first team. Of course, we have our top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year on the first team in Jaren Jackson Jr., Brook Lopez, and Evan Mobley. And then at the guard spots, we got the best perimeter defender in basketball, in my opinion, Jrue Holiday. And then probably the second best this season, Alex Caruso has been killing it. I do want to highlight Alex Caruso right here because I don't know how many people are really watching Bulls games. They're not the best team right now, and they're not a big market team. I mean, Chicago's a big market, but you guys know what I'm saying. They're not one of the top tiers that everyone's going to be watching. As you guys just saw right there, he has the best defensive rating as any of the guards that made all defensive, even the second team, which you guys will see. And he has the best defensive box plus minus than anyone that made my all defensive teams. Alex Caruso at 6'5" at a guard. He's got great size, great hands, great length. Stands there, he'll take a charge, he'll stand in front of their man, navigate over the screens. He does everything, and he's just, I think he is so underrated defensively. He is top tier. And then for the second team, we got D'Anthony Melton. Mikal Bridges is a shooting guard over there in Brooklyn, so I put him at a guard position. Respectfully, I didn't want to leave any of these guys off. I'm pretty sure that's what the NBA is going to do also. Then we got Jaden McDaniels, Giannis, and Nick Claxton. It's pretty insane that the Bucks have 3 guys in Drew, Brook, and Giannis on all defensive teams, at least my all defensive team. They are built for the playoffs. But I do want to give a shout out to Nick Claxton, my old roommate. He's a big Nets fan. He loved Nick Claxton, put me on to Nick Claxton respectfully. It was when he was really on the bench getting like barely any minutes. He was like, yo, tap in, bro. He gonna be nice. He gonna be nice. Nick Claxton is nice, 100%. Shout out to him. Jaden McDaniels also having a breakout season. You know, of course, I'm sure all you guys have seen that clip of Anthony Edwards. You know, yeah, y'all got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels. Very funny, but it's kind of true. You know, he can guard anyone. He has no fear guarding any single person out there. Then also shout out to D'Anthony Melton. I think another one of the most underrated defensive guards over there in Philly. He's super underrated out there. Shout out to him. All right, we're on the home stretch right here. Round and third. Going to it. The final teams right here. All rookie first team, all rookie second team. Let's bang it out. Here we go with all rookie first team. Of course, we're going to have a top 3 in rookie of the year of Paolo, J-Dub, and Walker Kessler. And then joining them for the first team is Benedict Mathurin and Keegan Murray. I think Benedict Mathurin is really interesting because, as you saw, he only started 15 games, so he's doing almost all of his work off the bench. I think that could really benefit him. He comes in next year. I would assume they start him next to Tyrese Halliburton, get that dynamic going a little bit more. He's the scoring, he's the passing. I think that could work out really, really well. And then also shout out to Keegan Murray, a huge part of what's going over there in Sacramento. The ability to come in as a rookie and shoot the 3 ball as efficiently as he's doing it at the volume he's doing it. Really never seen before. He is really, really amazing pick for them. Fits into their offense perfectly, what they're trying to do. Just, you know, run and gun, shoot the 3, get it out there. He's really had an amazing season. And to round us off, all rookie second team, we got Andrew Nembhard, Jaden Ivey, Jabari Smith Jr., Jeremy Sohan, and Jalen Duren. Shout out to Andrew Nembhard, the only second round pick to make my all rookies teams. He's been amazing over there in Indiana as their backup point guard, stepping up when Tyrese has been hurt. Then we got Jaden Ivey over there in Detroit. He's been going through growing pains, but, you know, as all rookies do, the efficiency's not really the best, but you see the flashes where he's, you know, an elite finisher. He can play make. He can maybe get that jump shot moving along a little bit too. You see the flashes. Jabari Smith Jr. has ended off the season incredibly well. Struggled to begin a lot. Struggle's probably an understatement. But he rounded that corner, got a little bit comfortable under, you know, in the NBA. Definitely finished off strong. Jeremy Sohan has been great over there in San Antonio. Him being coached by Greg Popovich, I think, is the best thing for his career. Just soaking up all that knowledge. You see, he will do whatever it takes to get better. The one-handed free throw has been a big story. You know, his hair is pretty cool to look at, too. Then last but not least, Jalen Duren, the youngest player in the NBA. Every single time we played the Pistons, Clyde Frazier made sure that we knew he was the youngest player in the NBA. He almost averaged a double-double. He's a great rebounder, both offensively and defensively. Great defender, too. The instinct's there. Got a big, strong body. Seeing him in the future, after he gets a few years on his belt, get those instincts down, you know, get more just attuned to the NBA, he could be really scary. And that is every single award and team in the NBA. It is my ballot right there, what I think is going to happen. If you made it to this far, you are the GOAT. You are the GOAT. You right there. You talking. Yep, you. I'm talking to you. Fire. I fuck with you. Good looks. Let me know what you guys think of my awards. Is there some that you disagree, some that you agree? The teams, you know, you think that works. You think he's going to make first team, second team, third team, whatever it is. Put it down in the comments down below. I love to have conversations. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there'll be links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.